things happen in our lives that change the direction of where it's going. One of those is something external made you want to change. Whether that is job loss, death, illness, there are a couple of other major transitions in your life. I have been through a couple of these. I've gone through the death of my significant other when my daughter was 2 months old and having to deal with that. And another one was my job loss. But the job loss was what put me onto a personal growth journey. I'm Lori Druskowski, and I help support you in finding what you love and to create a plan to live a more meaningful life. They just downsized, and at the bottom of when hiring came in, the timing, I was one of the people who was let go. Yeah, that first day, that was an emotional day, and I cried. But then I thought, wow, this is an opportunity for me to see where I really want. Because I had noticed over the last prior year that I didn't just love my job. Not that I disliked it or hated it, but the enthusiasm of being there every day just changed. And I had been there 12 years, 13 years, and I just knew something was different. And so I was like, let's take this opportunity to explore what I might want to do. And even though I was applying for jobs and I had job offers, interviews, and one offered me a job, and it didn't feel right. And it was really hard for me to turn that down because I needed some income. I was working off of savings during that time, and I knew in my heart that was not for me. And so I said no. And then that put me on to where I was in self-development, of really looking at my values, what I wanted out of life. And I started going for a walk. I needed to get into a routine of staying consistent with things. So I started walking in the morning, and I ended up meeting up with another lady who our kids went to school together. And we started talking, and it even furthered that development in me. And she taught me lots of wonderful things. I've learned many things from her. But one of the things that I would have loved to have heard from back then was that it's okay to go against the norm. The norm of, having to have a job, or the 9 to 5 work routine that I really wasn't looking for back then. And I also needed to know that it was okay to listen to my intuition, because everybody in my life was just telling me, like, you just got to take this. You have to take this because this is what you need to do. And I would have loved for somebody to have just said, you know what? You know in your heart or in your gut whether it feels right or not. In that instant, you really do. And they say, if you don't have, you can't make a decision, just to flip a coin. And in the air, in your heart what you really want. So listen to it. Another reason that you would have to change is if you have gone through a tough challenge or experience. And for me, setting boundaries with family when it came to my child, on how I wanted to raise her. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to outside people, because there are a lot of people who are able to help you grow and develop and build this relationship with them. And they know lots of things. So I'm not saying to not listen to them. What I am saying is, what's right for your child. It goes back to listening to your intuition. And it is okay if you raise your children differently than friends or family, or the way that other people do. And that was really hard for me to start to stand up for how I wanted to raise her, or what I wanted her to do or not do. And I say that because there were many things that I wanted to instill in my daughter that were different than the people who were also helping to raise her. And so I want to remind you and to just take a moment of being like, is this really important to me? Is this something that I truly value in my life, in her life, in other people's lives that you have influence over? And take a moment to just feel inside, to feel that intuition, because again, you really do know what is best. So what I'm guessing is what put me onto my journey is something has changed. Something needs to change, whether it is internal, whether it is external. And I have to say, just listen to your intuition. Listen to what you know in your heart to be true.